people, what is up and welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video where we're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about the moolah. Now if this look looks familiar, it's because I'm filming a couple of videos today and all I did was change my lip. The one I had on before was Velvet Decade from Lisa Eldridge, but I felt like it was a little too dark. It was a little too deep. It was a little too grungy. So I decided to switch it out for Velvet Cinnabar, which is orange, and I still don't think I like it, but we gonna go with it anyway. Okay, just let it go. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about money, but before we dive into today's video, let me quickly introduce myself. Welcome, I am Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I would absolutely love if you would consider subscribing and joining the fam. So on the vein of getting makeup for the cheap, I thought we would talk about money today and have a real honest, candid conversation about makeup spending. Because when I started 2023, one of the things that I talked about in previous videos about sort of my makeup goals, my goals for my collection, my goals for my platform, I talked about the fact that I spent a shit ton of money and way too much money on makeup, and I really wanted to cut back and be more intentional with what I was bringing to my collection. One, because I was feeling overwhelmed. Two, like I said, I was spending way too much money into something that, even though I enjoy it and it brings me joy, there are other things that I wanted to spend money on. Travel, experiences, other things that just I put more value and more weight and priority on. So that being said, I thought it might be good to start a series where I talk about what I spent in each month, just so that I can reflect on it, be really upfront and candid with you guys and let you know how my collection is changing and what's going on, how much am I spending, am I on track, how do I feel about it, all of that. So this is episode 1. We're gonna see if this gets an episode 2. I'm filming this in February, but I'm gonna be talking about what happened in January. And February's been a slow month for me shopping wise, so we're gonna see. So I have been keeping track of everything. I've been writing down what I've been spending, so I'm just gonna be looking at my notes here to talk about where I've been investing my money. And I think that this is a really good one for my channel because, like I said in my intro, one of the things that I like to do is share how I'm able to buy a lot of these high-end luxury products on the cheap, so for a really affordable price. So I think you guys seeing how I'm spending my money might be a good way to give you insight into how I'm getting a lot of these things for a more affordable price. Okay, so the first thing that I bought in 2023, I think it was the first thing, if not the first thing that's on my list, is I actually did pick up a couple of Oden's Eye singles. Now, Oden's Eye did release a singles collection at the beginning of the year, and I thought that it was interesting. It was a bunch of multi-chromes as well as metallic shades, and it was a lot of them. Now, I knew going into it that I did not want to get the entire collection. I was like, that is just too much. So I was really intentional about picking, I think, about 6 shades that I wanted to pick up, and I also decided to get the palette. Now, I did have a friend gift me a couple more of the products from the Oden's Eye line, so I do have more than what I actually bought. But in terms of what I spent on Oden's Eye, I spent $66.82, which, not bad, but if you remember when I did my goals video, I said that I wanted to have a budget of $100. So I was already cutting it close to the very tip top of my budget. And when I think about my budget now, one of the things that I'm reflecting on is the fact that makeup prices have lost their mind. So $100, while it might have stretched a little bit more back in the day, even now, $100 is 2 products, if so much. Because then you gotta add taxes and all these other things. So the reality is $100 does not get me far on a monthly budget, but I'm still trying to keep it to $100. Anyways, so I picked up the Oden's Eye single shadows. Now, since I've got this, I've used these singles maybe about 3 times. I do like it. I think that it's a decent formula. I knew that I was going to get this Leon shade, so if nothing else, I wanted it for Leon because I think this is the most pigmented red I have ever seen, outside of probably the sigil-inspired black glove red. I think this is so bright and vibrant, so I was really interested in this shade specifically. But I did take the time to actually go through and watch a number of videos and see swatches and decide which shade I wanted to pick up. Now, I will say Oden's Eye does not necessarily have, in my opinion or my knowledge, the best track record of sending PR to darker creators. So it was really hard for me to pick the singles because I think the deepest person that I saw swatch the shades was Tina from the Fancy Face, and she's a couple of shades lighter than me, so I was trying to use her as a reference to figure out, can I what shades I want, which ones are going to look good for me. But I wish they sent it out to more deeper creators, but that's neither here nor there. I spent $66.82 on my Odin's Eye singles, as well as this palette, because I think this was $4, but they had a discount. So that's what I bought. That's one of the first things that I purchased. The next two things that I purchased were the Pat McGrath Star Wars 5-pan eyeshadow palettes. Now, each one cost a little bit different because I was very strategic about how I was planning to purchase this. The first one I picked up, I believe, the golden one. I picked this up at Sephora, and I paid $13.08 for it. And I'm trying to remember how I got it for so cheap. And the reason why I was able to pay only $13 is because I had a gift card that I was able to use, as well as some of my Sephora points. So this originally is $36. So by using the gift card as well as using some points, I was able to bring it down to $13. And that's how I was able to save money and not actually dip into my budget too much. And I really wanted to get this one because from the swatches that I saw, this actually looked like the one that had the best performance in terms of it being creamy, not piecey, working well. I've used this one once so far. I thought it was nice. I thought that I got a really pretty look. I wore it day before yesterday, Thursday, because I had a work meeting that I wanted to wear neutral. Whenever I have like really overly professional work meetings, I try to go with more neutral eyeshadow because it's just the industry that I'm in. I can't be too crazy. So I thought that it worked well. It was really pretty and I really enjoyed it. The second one that I picked up was the Sith Seduction palette, and I actually purchased this on Instagram. Now, if you haven't shopped through Instagram before, you may not know this, but sometimes they will offer discounts on things purchased through Instagram. And I believe I got a 20% off discount on this palette. So I ended up paying $29.16, which from the original $36 price tag isn't a ton saved, but that $29 includes the sales tax and all that stuff. It did ship for free, but it's sales tax that adds on to it. So I didn't save a ton with this purchase, but I was able to get it at a cheaper price. I haven't used this one yet. I shouldn't have bought it probably, like, if we're being honest. I didn't need either of these, but I wanted to try. I like this color story the most, and I really thought this was a nice sort of neutral palette. So here I am. I have that. So those were the two Pat McGrath palettes that I picked up, both of them at lesser prices than what the original price was. The next product that I picked up was the Auric Glow Lust. Now, Auric was having a sale, and I think it was a 15% off sale either for the Auric birthday or something like that. And I decided to pick this up because Auric does not do a ton of sales. And I checked with my friend Rupi to see, like, you know, what do you think? And I know that this is well loved. I've heard people talk about this in relation to, like, the Charlotte Tilbury glow thing, the e.l.f. glow one or whatever. And this seemed like a product that I could get behind. It seemed like it might actually be in between the Fenty Glow Luminizer thing and the e.l.f. or the Charlotte Tilbury, which are just a little bit thicker, and this might be somewhere in the middle. I feel like the Fenty one is just too light, doesn't really do anything, and the e.l.f. one is kind of real thick, so I was hoping that this would be in the middle. And like I said, I did believe I get 20% off of it, so I paid $47.52 for this product. I have it in the shade Citrine. I just think that the bottle and the packaging on this is gorgeous. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, real luxe. I haven't used it yet, but I'm actually very excited to. I think this will work well. I think that I got the perfect color. If I'd gone any deeper, it might not have worked best for my complexion. So really looking forward to trying that. I did spend $47.52, like I said, which if you are keeping track, that's already put me over my $100 budget. So if you were wondering where this video was going, I did not spend I did not stick to my budget, but we'll get to, like, the final thoughts at the end. Then the other thing that I picked up that honestly really blew my budget out to the water was the Adept Cosmetics Inspired Palette and their mystery box. Now, if you did not see, the Adept Cosmetics mystery box was pretty pricey, and it came with 9 items. So you got the La Cienega palette, which I just finished filming this look using. So it's a really nice neutrally palette with pops of blue in there. And then you got 8 multi-chrome eyeliners with, I believe, 2 of the 8 being just standard metallics. And then the Inspired palette, which is inspired by Green Arrow. Really beautiful green palette with a ton of multi-chromes and whatnot in there. And I ended up, in total, paying $183.70 for these products. Which blew my budget out to the water. I was able to save some money because there are a number of influencer codes with Adept Cosmetics, including mine, which gives you about 10% off. And if I were to purchase each of these products individually, it would cost me more. But here's the thing. I would have never bought these multi-chrome eyeliner pencils. So this was a complete waste of money. I should not have picked up the mystery box. The La Cienega palette is really nice, and I don't mind that I have it. But I should have waited until they were released individually and just bought the palette and left the multi-chrome liners alone. So that was a little bit of a bust for me budget-wise, and I do feel a little bit annoyed by it. I also told myself that I was buying the Adept Cosmetics mystery box as a way to film a video unboxing it, but like, what kind of video is that gonna be? I got a palette and 8 liners. That's not a great unboxing, so it didn't even work out well for my channel because it was a waste of time and money. Anyways, we're not gonna harbor on that. The next thing that I picked up in January was the Lancome Tante Idole foundation. This is in the shade 495 Suede Warm. So this actually, how much did I pay for this? So this was actually on sale when I picked it up. This was on sale for $26 at Sephora inside Kohl's. So I decided to pick this up. Now, here's how I was able to save a couple of dollars with this foundation. I had the Tante Idole foundation already in another shade. I think I had it in 395 or something like that, which in my opinion was just too light for me. So what I did is I put that foundation on Macari. It was one that I'd only used about twice, so it was still really new. And I was able to get some money back from that. Let me see how much I was able to get back. So I sold the one that I had for $18 and I picked up the new one for $26. So honestly, this only worked out to being a couple of dollars. So I didn't feel too bad about that because I didn't feel like I was spending an exorbitant amount in my budget. And then in a similar vein, I actually picked up another foundation. And this is the Chanel Tante Idole, the Chanel Ultra Le Tante foundation in the shade BD111. So this was a very similar situation to the Lancome one where I did already have this foundation, but it was in a lighter shade. So I wanted to get this in a deeper shade that was just closer to my complexion. And it was past the return point, but I'd only used it about twice as well. So what I did, similar to the Lancome, I put that one on Macari, and that one sold for $18 as well. So I was able to get some money back from that. And the other thing too is I did have another foundation that I picked up from Ulta that I was able to return and get back my full money for. So I had I think it was another Lancome foundation that I paid $36 for. I returned that one. So I put the money from selling the original Chanel foundation that I had and the money that I had from the return to pick up this foundation. That being said, the Chanel foundation is not cheap. It is $70.20 when you add tax into it, because so I still ended up paying, I think, about 30 something dollars for this foundation of my own money. But I'm glad that I was able to get some money back from that purchase. I'm looking at the receipt now because I kept it for this video. So the Chanel foundation is $65. I returned the Lancome Skin Feels Good foundation which I purchased at Ulta. And I bought all of the Chanel foundation at Ulta. The Lancome foundation was at Sephora inside Kohl's, but the Chanel foundation was at Ulta. So, like I said, this retails for $65. I did have another Lancome foundation that I needed to return because it was too deep for me. That was $36. So I returned that foundation, just $36, and I put that $36 towards the $65 Chanel foundation. I also was able to use some of my points for $6 off. So I ended up spending $24.75 at Ulta on that foundation. But like I said, I did sell the original Chanel foundation that I had for $18. So taking the $18 away from the $24, what is that, $5-6? So that's kind of what I ended up paying for the foundation, which I've been trying to do a lot of these transactional things where if I want to purchase something, I get rid of something else or I switch it out for something else so that I'm not spending any of my money, but I'm spending money from things that I've either returned or things that I've sold on Macari, which is helping me budget-wise not to go over. And then that is pretty much it. So that is everything that I bought in January. So what it totaled up to is that I ended up spending, looking at the full retail price of all of the products, $339.74. Now, if we're being exact, that would mean that I was $239.74 over my budget. So pretty far over my budget. But like I said, I did end up spending a lot of money that I had from Mercari sales, from returns, that really did help me stick within my budget. And granted, I know that I am severely over my budget still, even with the things that I was able to sell off. And a lot of that is due primarily to the Adept Mystery Box an inspired palette combination, because that was almost $200 in itself. So, you know, I'm not super happy with how much I've spent this month, but I also think that I'm still doing a lot better than I did last month. I think that the decisions that I made this month when it came to what I put on Mercari, how I returned products, and how I thought about what I brought into my collection and where I could save money with either a coupon code, a discount, or just not buying it at all, has been working. Now, we are well into February at this point, and I have purchased one thing so far. Two things from one brand. And I'm really happy with that. And I think that I will continue to see improvements in my spending when it comes to makeup. I have to, because like we can't be doing this on a monthly basis. So that's where I am. That's how much I spent, $339.74 this month. Retail wise on makeup. That is not going to be every month. It's definitely not going to be next month or this month, but I thought I would share it with you guys because I'm really trying to be more thoughtful and reflect on my purchases. Let me know down in the comments below if that is something that you do. How do you keep track of your budget? How do you account for things that you might return or sell as you take your budget into account? Because while I do want to be able to take money from like things that I sell and put it back into purchasing products, I don't want it to have to be that. Like if I sell something on Mercari, it doesn't mean that I have to take that money and buy something else. So I would love to hear how you guys are approaching your collections and your monthly makeup budget if you have one. All right, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe on your way out if you haven't already joined the channel. Like I said, leave a comment down below letting me know your thoughts. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and for supporting. I appreciate you, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!